So you just raised funding. Congrats. You survived the pitch deck circuit, you sold the dream, and now you're staring at the fresh injection of capital. And now comes the hard part, growth. Everyone's watching, your investors, your team, your co-founder, and if you're like most early stage or mid-stage SaaS founders that I talk to, your first instinct is to hire more SDRs and crank outbound into overdrive. Let's hit the phones, load up HubSpot, and build a pipeline. Does that sound familiar? Now, I'm not here to knock outbound. It works most times and in most contexts. But if that's your only lever, you're leaving a massive opportunity on the table. And worse, you're building an entire go-to-market system that's a grind. It's expensive and it's frustrating because of all the cold leads. Today, I'm going to break down the overlooked lead gen tactic that SaaS operators are using to preload demand, so their SDRs don't have to fight tooth and nail for every conversation. This strategy warms your leads before reps even say hello. It builds familiarity, authority, conversion readiness, and it becomes your biggest asset in a market where trust is earned before the call. So let's get into it. Here's the pattern I see over and over again. A SaaS founder closes their seed or Series A, suddenly they got funding pressure, growth targets, CAC to LTV ratios on slide decks. So they hire an outbound team, usually too fast. They bring on SDRs, head of growth, and start pushing hard on cold email, paid performance, and appointment setting. And then the disappointment usually kicks in. The meetings are cold, the prospects are skeptical, the CAC is way higher than expected, and even when they do have a meeting booked, the sales cycle is long and it's brutal. And here's why. They skipped a step. They assumed outbound alone could drive demand, but in reality, the new buyer journey starts way before the first email lands. Buyers today don't respond to sales pitches. They respond to brands they already trust. That trust doesn't start on the call, it starts before the click, and it starts with content. Now, I'm not talking about fluffy top-of-funnel content that gets likes but doesn't convert. I'm talking about sales-aligned, conversion-primed video content that does 4 key things to build your brand's authority and pipeline. Answers the buyer's top objections, clarifies your differentiators, demonstrates your product's value, and makes your brand feel known and seen before you even show up in their inbox. It's like a silent funnel. It's everything that happens before your prospect enters your CRM, and it determines whether your SDRs are chasing ghosts or fielding inbound interest from people who already want to talk. When I first started Hive, I leaned heavy on outbound. I knew how to write a good cold email. I knew how to segment, I knew how to A/B test, personalize, all of it. And we got meetings, but most of them were lukewarm at best. I had no time on my calendar, bouncing between meetings, tightness in my chest and my jaw, and I was dealing with prospects that were awful and felt like I was doing nothing with my day every day. I thought to myself, I'm having the same questions every day. These prospects are saying the same objections, and I hate explaining what we do as a business a million times a day. I thought, how can I eliminate this grunt work? That's when I started building content that actually spoke to my buyer. In my content, I addressed the things that I knew they were thinking, but not saying. I hit their pain before they even had to explain it to us. And most importantly, we started to show up everywhere. On YouTube, on LinkedIn, on search. Suddenly our cold leads didn't feel cold. People were booking calls saying, I've already seen your stuff. I already get it. Just tell me how it works with my business. That's when I realized the content wasn't just helping us close, it was doing the closing. Now, if you want the step-by-step playbook on how we use our video sales engine to pre-sell prospects before sales calls, I've left a link below where you can download the PDF for free. It walks you through exactly how we use our video content to support either our outbound or how we do it with our clients and their campaigns. So we improve our sales cycles, our conversions, and everything in between. So click it, don't miss out, it's below. But right now I want to talk psychology for a second. When a prospect hears about your tool for the first time, their guard is up, they're skeptical, they've been pitched 100 tools, and they've been burned before, and they don't want to talk to your SDR, not yet at least. But what if they saw a video where your founder explained the exact problem that they were struggling with? What if they watched a breakdown of how your solution works in plain English? What if they heard you acknowledge the reasons people hesitate to buy and then dismantle them with logic and proof? Suddenly, they don't feel like they're being sold to. They feel like they're being understood. Now, that's the difference between cold pipeline and warm pipeline. Here's what most SaaS teams get wrong. They think content is a nice to have or a really long-term SEO play or something the intern can handle on social. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about building content as a sales system. Content that speaks directly to your ICP's pains, mirrors your internal dialogue and theirs, flipping their limiting beliefs, and positions you and your product as the inevitable solution. And when you combine that type of content, even with the most modest amount of paid distribution, retargeting, YouTube pre-roll, LinkedIn native, you suddenly have a trust building machine that feeds your pipeline without cold calling into the void. So let's get into some specific plays. Play number 1, the post-funding founder series. Why don't you create a 3-part video series where you, the founder, talks directly to their ideal customer? Break down the problem, the gap in the market, and the unique insight that led to your product. Not only does this humanize your brand, it builds founder market fit credibility, which is massive for early stage buyers. Now, I've done this personally with our marketing here at The Hive, and I created a video series called Behind the Hive. I got somebody on my team to ask me questions about how our services came to life, what my life was like as a founder before and after this business. And I talked about where the future of AI and content is going. It's super raw and a very organic way to build trust and credibility with my prospects before they even speak to me. And the beauty of that is I create it once and then let it work for me. Play number 2, the sales cycle accelerator. Have your head of sales or product walk through the top 5 questions prospects ask on each demo. Record it, turn it into a playlist, send it to every post demo follow-up. Run it as a YouTube ad targeting your ICP. I do this using Loom, sharing my screen, and I just record it. And it doesn't have to be complicated. That's actually the best part. Now your SDRs and AEs aren't just telling, they're showing. And they're doing it before that first meeting even happens. Now play number 3, the category reframe. This is the contrarian piece. The one where you explain why the old way of doing things doesn't work anymore and how your product represents a fundamentally better model. This is what shifts beliefs. This is what earns attention. This is what turns skeptics into subscribers and fence sitters into fans. And can't you see? That's exactly what I'm doing in this video. I'm showing you the old way and new way of lead gen. Subtle, isn't it? Now you might be thinking, okay, but this isn't brand marketing. No, this is performance content. Because when you structure it correctly and you distribute it intelligently and measure it against pipeline, not vanity metrics, it performs like any other growth channel. And the best part is that it compounds. Your outbound doesn't. Your SDRs and DMs don't. But your content, it builds momentum with every watch, with every share, and every comment. And when it's paired with smart paid ad spend, it becomes the bridge between awareness and action. Let's zoom out. Your job post-funding isn't to go faster. It's to build systems that scale. And when you invest in content now, while you still have dry powder, while the spotlight is on you, while your narrative is still yours to control, you create way more leverage that will outpace your competitors. And because they're missing it. 6 months from now, when they're still A/B testing their cold email subject lines, you'll have dozens of touch points online, a following full of pre-warmed leads, and a sales team positioned to close faster because the content already did the heavy lifting. This is how modern SaaS brands scale smart. At Hive, we don't just talk about this, we build it. We help B2B SaaS teams architect what we call the GTM content engine, a content system that drives authority, demand, and conversion across YouTube, search, and social. We handle the scripting, the filming, editing, optimization, distribution, all of it, so you don't have to post content. We build the kind of thing that makes your outbound work better, the kind that turns your brand into revenue. If you're curious about how we build this into your current GTM system, click the link below and book a call with me and I'll walk you through the whole process. Because the sooner you start, the sooner you build your authority and the sooner you stop working your SDRs so hard. I used to overstress my sales infrastructure so much. I also know how to ease the tension and leverage it with content systems. Let me show you how we do it. Click that link below. And look, if you're a founder who just raised funding and you're thinking that hiring SDRs and buying leads is the only way to do it, you're playing a short game. Content isn't a side bet. It's a strategic asset. And founders who realize that now, they're the ones that are going to dominate later. So before you blow your budget and hire another outbound, ask yourself, where is your silent funnel? What happens before your sales rep shows up? How are you earning trust when you're not in the room? If the answer is we're not, then this is your wake-up call. Build the content engine, invest in assets, create content that sells. And if you want to do it right, you know where to find us. Let's make your pipeline feel like magic, because when content does the job, sales becomes inevitable.